Growing heat and humidity will be fuel for thunderstorms over the course of the next couple of days. Will these storms impact your fireworks forecast? I have that answer.
Plus, the state legislature passes and Governor Evers signs the state budget in the early hours. What it means for the next 2 years.
And later, many people are preparing to celebrate the 4th with a bang, but not all fireworks are fair game, which products could land you a hefty fine. And we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening, I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. Thanks so much for watching.
And we start with the weather as the 4th of July travel period gets underway. It's not just the traffic that's heating up today.
That's right. Hot and humid conditions are also expected for the holiday weekend. For more, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington for a look at the first warn forecast. Alex?
Yeah, let's sweat right into it here as we go into the 4th of July. Some rain starting off early. We'll talk more about that rain chance in just a moment. We're going to get all the way up to 91 as we go into the afternoon hours of 4th of July. Par for course. It's often very warm and humid. Heat index values are going to approach 95 to 100 degrees. So as I always say, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate as we head in to the 4th of July. And the heat and humidity fuel for showers and thunderstorms. While I'm not expecting widespread severe weather tonight, heavy rainfall, gusty winds, small hail not out of the question, especially the heavy rainfall. I'll explain more about that momentarily. Live Queen Bee radio skycam showing some cumulonimbus clouds building up into the atmosphere. Scattered thunderstorms are already developing over portions of the west part of Grant County, west of Platteville and west of the Mississippi River out in northeast Iowa. Here in Dane County, nothing has popped up yet, but that will most certainly change as we go through the evening hours. We have a lake breeze coming in from the north and from the east. That's providing just a little bit of kick for some additional thunderstorms that are popping up over parts of Marquette and Green Lake counties. And as we move through the rest of the evening, Future Track is going to show a couple of thunderstorms this evening, but the main event's going to take place after 11 o'clock, heading towards the early morning hours when you join Savannah in the morning. Not expecting, again, widespread severe weather as we go into the overnight period, but these storms could line up one after another, so I'm reconsidering upping the potential for flooding rains for parts of the area. Coming up in Maine weather, we'll use Future Track to show thunderstorm chances all the way through the weekend. Will it impact your firework forecast? And just how high will the heat index values be in your neighborhood? Coming up.
All right, thank you, Alex. And you can track the forecast for yourself on our First Warn weather app. It has hourly planners, road conditions, and radar. You can download this for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC weather.
The man accused in a poisoning plot could be close to getting out of jail. Court records show Paul Van Dyne's cash bonds in both Dane and Rock County have been signed. Van Dyne faces several charges in both counties, including attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Cash bonds of $37.7 million in Rock County, $10 million in Dane County were set during court hearings. As of now, Van Dyne is listed on the Dane County jail roster.
The chairman of the Chester Town Board, accused of choking a dog to death, has died himself. An obituary says Richard Van Buren died Wednesday from complications during surgery. Van Buren was charged in Dodge County with mistreatment of animals causing death. A woman had found a golden retriever and contacted the Humane Society. But because the dog was not found in an area that partners with the group, it directed her to the town's board chair, Van Buren. He allegedly used a leash to choke the dog. A large boost to childcare was among the sticking points of the biennial budget that Governor Tony Evers signed in the wee hours this morning.
That $330 million was the product of much compromise, but some childcare providers tell our Armand Rahman it gave up too much.
Lawmakers touted the newly signed budget as a win for Wisconsin's child care industry, but a smaller family child care provider in New Glarus tells me it's far too little, far too late.
I only have 2 children today. I decided that we'd have a little field trip and have some ice cream and, celebrate summer.
Corinne Hendrickson isn't just enjoying summer.
Enjoy these, what could be the last moments of this.
She's starting to have tough conversations with the parents she serves with Corinne's Little Explorers, her family childcare business.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to stay open.
Because while Governor Tony Evers' biennial budget has been applauded for getting the childcare industry back on track, she says
this wasn't enough.
The budget includes $123 million for the child care subsidy to lower out-of-pocket costs for working families.
Family child care, it's really not going to help. Group centers, small ones, probably not so much. Bigger ones, maybe, if they can get a full classroom.
That and more on top of $110 million in direct payments to providers like Hendrickson.
It's less than what we're getting right now every month, and it ends next June, and there's no chance of getting more funding after that because our legislative body will not be in session until after the elections.
She says this is just kicking the can down the road for another year.
This is a quality of life issue in Wisconsin.
Childcare providers and advocates asked for $480 million and got $330 million. But political analyst Brandon Scholes says that took a lot of compromise behind the scenes.
They probably weren't going to get nearly as much as what they got in this negotiated amount.
Scholes says after COVID, the childcare industry was understandably overwhelmed and the state needed to help it get on its feet. But now...
And in fact, is the state going to subsidize childcare? That's a very competitive dollar, because when childcare industry is asking for $400+ million, public schools are asking for billions, charter schools and food share programs.
It really feels like we're being gaslit and being told that what we're understanding and reading isn't true.
Reporting in New Glarus, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Armand, thank you. And also included in the budget, a statewide film office and a $5 million tax incentive to productions that hire and film in Wisconsin. Advocates in the industry say it's something they've been pushing for more than a decade. Although it's a first step, Wisconsin still trails neighboring states like Illinois and Minnesota. Wisconsin screenwriter Michael Graff says the new incentive likely isn't big enough to attract major productions, but will help small independent productions.
We will attract small indie projects, homegrown projects that will definitely have an impact on Wisconsin arts, Wisconsin local economy, and help build local infrastructure.
And before the governor signed the budget, Wisconsin was one of just 13 states without a film incentive, one of just 3 without a statewide film office.
The Madison Fire Department is investigating a pair of fires at a north side playground as potential arson. The fires happened at Lindbergh Elementary on Kenny Road. The first was at about 5:30 last night. Crews found evidence that the fire burned through the top of a slide. The second fire was reported then at 7 o'clock. Firefighters say they found flames and smoke engulfing that playground. They needed about 300 gallons of water to put it out. Well, the 4th of July is tomorrow, and people are getting ready to barbecue and watch the fireworks.
It's important to remember the do's and don'ts, of course, of fireworks. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to local police departments here in Dane County.
Fireworks will take over the sky for the 4th of July. It's important to know which fireworks are legal and which ones aren't in the Madison metro area. I'm here at a pop-up tent in Middleton, and it's important to know which ones to buy to avoid a ticket.
Sparklers, snaps, caps, and snakes
Are the only legal fireworks in the Madison metro area.
Generally speaking, if something leaves the ground, that's going to be a hazard, and those are the things that are prohibited by ordinance.
We will have extra patrols going through pretty much most of most of Madison, with some emphasis on Elver and Gardner Park.
The Madison Police Department wants to avoid another incident like what happened at Elver Park in 2024.
While fireworks that shoot up are really cool, they can create some safety hazards for other people, especially if they shoot towards a building or shoot towards like a dried out wooded area.
Because of the unsanctioned fireworks, a Madison police officer was hit and thankfully only had minor injuries. But situations like this can turn deadly, and tickets can cost nearly $400.
Like I said, we will have officers in obviously patrolling Madison. We will have some extra staffing just due to it being the 4th of July to address any issues in the parks.
A Middleton police captain understands that people want to enjoy the holiday, but asks that everyone complies with officers.
So we want to educate and, again, get that voluntary compliance. If people are going to willfully not comply, particularly after that effort, we aren't afraid to issue citations.
All of the agencies that I talked to said that safety is their priority, and when in doubt, make sure that you call the fire or police department. Reporting in Middleton, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
All right, thank you, Tanisha. And if you're looking for a spot to watch the fireworks this week, there are plenty to choose from. Tonight, the Madison Mallards will have a fireworks show beginning around 9:30. Then tomorrow, there are shows in Johnson Creek at Centennial Park, the UW Platteville campus in Baraboo, and Riverside Park in Beloit. Also, Winnequa Park, I always say that wrong, in Minoa. Then the next day, Saturday, there will be fireworks in Mauston, Sauk City, and Whitewater. For a list of more events, you can head to our website, channel3000.com. And coming up next on News 3 Now at 6, a reminder for Madison residents that have trash collection tomorrow.
Well, plus, the fireworks will be flying this weekend, but have you ever wondered why we shoot off fireworks during the 4th? The answer dates back to our nation's birth. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
A heads up now for those who typically have trash collection tomorrow. The city won't be picking up trash, recycling, brush, or large items tomorrow because of the holiday. So all Streets Division drop-off sites and offices will also be closed. If you normally have trash and recycling Fridays, be sure to put your cart out for collection by 6:30 Monday morning. There are also reduced bus services. Routes 81 through 84 will not operate. All standing paratransit services are canceled.
Well, just like pumpkins with Halloween, turkey on Thanksgiving, fireworks are probably the first thing many people think of when talking about the 4th of July. But why do we use them on Independence Day? The answer is actually rooted in American history. July 3rd, 1776, a day before Congress approved the Declaration of Independence, founding father John Adams wrote a letter to his wife Abigail saying our country's independence should be celebrated, quote, with pomp and parade, with shoes, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other from this time forward forevermore. Using fireworks as a celebration was carried over from medieval Europe, where the colorful explosions marked festivals, royal weddings, military victories, and just about every other occasion you can think of.
You know, funny enough, I had somebody come in and he bought a huge roll of firecrackers, and I asked him what it was for, and he was getting married. And the same guy came back 2 years later, and he was getting divorced. You know, so we have all types of people that buying everything.
For all occasions, apparently. Fireworks date back to about the year 800 in China. They were initially used to ward off evil spirits and celebrate weddings and births.
Pretty cool. So do you think your business is the best place to work? If so, it's time to let everyone know. Madison Magazine is launching the annual Best Places to Work contest. Nominations are open now through August 22nd. Winners will be celebrated along with the Best of Madison Business Award winners at Madison Magazine's Best of Business annual luncheon in February. Still ahead, how you can get a free Uber ride over the weekend.
Plus, holiday travel is underway. We take a look at the numbers as Americans head to their 4th of July destinations.
And will the weather cooperate for all of the fireworks shows this weekend? Alex has the answer in his complete forecast up next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
If you're planning a cookout or a get-together this weekend, health officials are urging you to keep your food safe. According to the CDC, every year in the U.S., there are an estimated 48 million cases of foodborne illness and 3,000 deaths. Well, we all know about washing our hands and cooking the food properly. Experts remind people don't leave the food out too long. It can spoil after just 2 hours at room temperature, and that time is cut in half if you're outside in some high heat.
If they have been out for longer than that, they would not be safe to keep. So unfortunately, we would recommend throwing them away at that point.
Well, if you plan to transport food to a get-together, Carruthers says that food also needs to be kept at a safe temperature. We all got a cooler, so use them. Cold sources like ice or frozen gel packs can help keep that food cool. Even frozen water bottles can help keep that food safe. We're taking a live look right now. This is the interstate at County Road T, just north of 30 there on the east side of Madison. The holiday travel period, smooth right now. It looks pretty good out there. 4th of July, actually one of the most dangerous holidays on our roadways, by the way. Nearly 40% of all traffic deaths during the weekend are due to alcohol-related crashes. To reduce drunk driving and to encourage safer celebrations, Pemberton Personal Injury Law Firm is offering a free Uber ride to some Wisconsin residents. It's available from now through 9 a.m. Saturday. Head to channel3000.com to get a voucher worth up to $25, but you have to act quickly. There are just 300 rides available.
And right now, millions of Americans are traveling on the roads, as you saw some of them, and through the air for the holiday. With gas prices at their lowest since the beginning of the pandemic, drivers will feel a little less pain at the pump, but this could also mean getting stuck in traffic on your way to the destination, with an expected 61 million people set to hit the road.
We're paying about 30 cents less than we were this time last year. We haven't paid gas prices this low since 2021.
Air travel is also taking off, with AAA projecting a record 5.84 million people flying. However, round-trip domestic airfare is up 4% over last year due to demand.
A few storms possible overnight leading to the holiday. Alex, how are things looking for the entire weekend?
We got on and off storm chances. Let's break that down here. Scattered storms tonight, but those storms will end Friday morning. more storms as we head into Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. So let's get tracking those storms right now, showing it to you live right here on our live Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Cumulonimbus clouds blowing up into the atmosphere right now. We have scattered thunderstorms popping up in Grant County. Some of these storms could bring flooding rains. That's my main concern overnight tonight, but we can't rule out gusty winds and some small hail with these storms. Here's that storm that we were seeing on the live Queen Bee Radio Skycam out towards Buena Vista, towards the Mississippi River, and these storms will continue to pop up on and off throughout the evening. Better chances overnight. Dane County, nothing right now, but as we move off towards the northwest, we have a lake breeze coming in off of Lake Michigan. That's another spark for thunderstorms up towards Marquezan, up towards Green Lake and Marquette counties, and the shower and thunderstorm activity can't rule out a thunderstorm or two as we move through the early to mid-evening hours. Noting here at 8 o'clock, there are those few storms by Platteville over towards Darlington. As we get later into the evening, better chances for thunderstorms and likely a corridor of storms setting up from Black River Falls, let's just say right along I-90 as we go through the overnight hours. One or two of these storms could be strong to severe, but the greatest threat here is the continuation of a storm after a storm after a storm. Madison back down towards Watertown, over towards the Elkhorn and Janesville area as we go towards the Friday morning hours. That repeated bouts of showers and thunderstorms could cause localized heavy rainfall in addition to the gusty wind and small hail chance. Now as we go into the fireworks evening, the all-important forecast here, conditions will improve. The thunderstorm threat will go away as we go into the evening. Looking at clear to partly cloudy skies, but hot and humid conditions. Heat index values in the mid to upper 90s across southern Wisconsin as we go into Friday. And then we repeat that out ahead of a cold front as we go into Saturday afternoon. We take note here the heat index values getting up into the low to mid 90s, and then widespread showers and thunderstorms coming through Saturday afternoon, going into the evening, going into the overnight hours, ending as we go into Sunday. So repeat here, 4th of July, 90-degree temperatures, 89 on Saturday at ahead of that cold front. I do think the firework festivities are going to be A-OK Friday night, but we're keeping an eye out on the potential for alert day conditions Saturday afternoon, evening with that cold front, since we know a lot of folks will be outside, and I will be here tomorrow and with the very latest on that cold front and future track to show us where those storms are going to be on Saturday.
And a beautiful stretch after that, too.
Beautiful stretch after that. Very July-like.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Summer is here, and you're talking hoops.
Yeah, we are, and it got me thinking, like, that hill that they used to run up there, now they're running on Bascom. That does not sound fun right now.
No,
right? Like,
no.
it's
A little
too
toasty
hot.
for that.
Well, coming up in sports, Nolan Winter gearing up for another big year for the Badgers. What he says will give him confidence on the court. That's next on News 3 Now. Christmas has come early for the Brewers. After 2 years of rehab, Brandon Woodruff and his shoulder and ankle are finally healthy. And Big Woo is scheduled to make his first start of the season on Sunday. And it's a moment that's been 652 days in the making. Meanwhile, Jacob Mizorowski has been named the NL Rookie of the Month. The Miz went 3-0 in June, striking out 19 batters in 16 innings and allowing just 3 hits. Well, the Brewers and Mets are in a bit of a rain delay because of the weather, but there is a window to get the game in, so hopefully we'll have highlights of the rubber match tonight at 10. Well, staying on the diamond, Clayton Kershaw made some history last night. The Dodger ace painted the outside corner for career strikeout number 3,000. Kershaw is the 20th pitcher in MLB history to join the 3K club and just the 3rd to strike out all 3,000 with one franchise. After averaging just 2 points and 2 rebounds during his first year in Madison, Nolan Winter took a big jump during his sophomore season. He worked his way into the starting lineup, scoring 9 points per game and leading the team in rebounding while finishing 2nd in blocks. And like last offseason, he hit it hard again with an emphasis on bulking up so he can be ready for the nightly battles in the Big Ten.
Weight room's been one of the bigger things for me this offseason, knowing that strength will bring me a lot of confidence throughout all the aspects of my game on the court. So getting in there with Coach Snides, and when I went home, just really focusing on that, along with all the other stuff on the court as usual. But no, it should be a fun year. We're all looking forward to it.
And you can't celebrate the 4th of July without Nathan's hot dog eating contest. And back after missing last year is Joey Jaws Chestnut, who weighed in at 238 pounds. That number surely grow after tomorrow. The 16-time mustard belt champ will look to break his own record of 76 hot dogs eaten in only 10 minutes.
Sarah loves watching the hot dog eating.
This makes me want to puke.
I think he's going to do it afterwards. He'll be down under 230 by about 8 tomorrow. Tonight at 10, the Monona Community Festival returns after last year's announcement that the event would be gone for good. How a group of volunteers was able to bring back a community tradition and how the community is enjoying it. That and more tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
I'm glad there was no video of the contest yet.
That's
Not ready
tomorrow.
for that. Oh, gosh. And we've got a decent forecast, but some storms are looking up for.
Storms tonight. Some of those could have some heavy rain, gusty winds, and small hail, but the all-important forecast. Fireworks, are we going to get them in? Very likely. Muggy conditions. You're going to want to really hydrate, though, before fireworks festivities after a hot day tomorrow.
All right. Alex, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6. Coming up next, Entertainment Tonight.
And our next newscast is coming up at 10 o'clock. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. We'll see you at 10.